what I had to give up in order to become successful. This is something that was heavy on my mind. This is something that I'm heavy, really. I discard shit on top of discard shit. Do you know why? Because people don't care. I'm throwing out how I personally feel about literally the world, my life goals, everything. Not literally, but inside. That's how I feel. I'm throwing it all away because nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking appreciates it. If they do appreciate it, it's not enough to change the current situation. It's really, really, really irritating. Because at this point, it doesn't matter if I make it to the other side. The people who drug me down the way just keep me a constant reminder that I'm living in hell. Why would I want to be successful in hell? They don't get that. They don't get that literally. They're making this shit an apocalypse, and they're making everything I work hard for, nothing matters. And you don't understand why I had to give up. The reason why they keep on doing this is because they share the same thing that I did. So this video is all about 8th grade, the greatest year of my life, but why I had to discard it, and why I hate when people keep on trying to replicate it. Last year they failed at replicating it, but it created a whole new type of way of viewing life, where you don't have to have constant dopamine. You just have a whole bunch of people caring for you and all over it. This year I had the exact same dopamine levels as I did in 8th grade, but they kept on putting emphasis on stuff that was full of shit. And that's why when I got home from Ginny and Georgia, when I got home from that accident and started watching Ginny and Georgia, I realized, you know what? God told me in my head, you see how nothing changed? You see how you literally won, but you recognize the serious situation, but because you won by a landslide, like literally, this is how people live every day. People literally discard the serious situation they were just in, go home and go watch TV like it was nothing. And I kept on solving the situation like, dude, I could have got killed. Dude, I could have broke a hip. Dude, I could have did this and that. Literally fucking, and everybody's looking at me going, well, look what happened to them and stuff like that. And literally, we're fucking crazy at that. Well, you should have seen what happened to them. It's nothing to brag about. I got home and realized I was in a serious situation. I realized that people live their whole lives every day getting in serious situations like that and having TV to fall back on. And literally, nothing gets fucking worth it anymore. Like, humans are, like, disposable. Like, humans are a piece of fucking flies and shit. Like, humans are just literally disposable fucking creatures. Like, how can you devalue a human life so much to a point where you manipulate it to a point where it literally becomes a dog? You're training humans like they're a dog, and then you're throwing them out like, oh, yellow, 24-7. I can't stand that. But it was still a great Netflix show. It was still one of the best Netflix shows of all time. Tons of dopamine. Yeah. Serious situation. We don't give a fuck. We're just having so much fun watching J.A. Georgia. Yeah. I'm tired of that. That's not cool. 8th grade is something I'm willing to take away because you slandered what the fuck it was. This year it was all the feels of 8th grade. Oh, tons of good times. Tons of, this and that. Fantastic delivery with less of events. Literally. Making more out of little situations, but they should be big situations by now. You don't understand how parallel this shit was in 8th grade. What this year did was it slandered the meaning of 8th grade. Where 8th grade was so impactful was the fact that I could be corrected. They had the all by you be mature scheme. They had this and that. Was the best part about 8th grade is I used to get scolded about being mature way worse than I was back in the day. When they told me to be mature back in the day is when I was really doing immature stuff, like commenting on an Indian girl and hanging out with my friend that's talking about One Piece and discarding the art of One Piece and literally focusing on the Indian girl. Oh, Monkey D. Luffy is fucking hot. I'm sitting over here recognizing that One Piece is an art, recognizing how good One Piece is, watching One Piece AMV after One Piece AMV, watching tons of porn in the middle, doing this and that, and literally all of a sudden a girl starts talking about One Piece, and I'm hooked on it and stuff like that. Do you know that disgraces One Piece? Do you know that me taking the girl out of that situation and literally discarding all the greatness that One Piece is severely immature because literally I'm not looking at the whole picture. I'm only focused on what I want to be focused on. And you don't think Mr. Pleasure corrected me on that? He looked in the sky when I kept on putting emphasis. I started laughing and stuff like that. I want her to say it some more. I want her to be like, oh, he's so hot, this and that. I tried to chart the conversation like, oh, so like, oh, I tried to make her say it again, shit like that. Not literally, not like, because I'm a little kid back then, I just wanted to say fuck, basically. I just wanted to use cuss words again. And that's very immature. But guess what happened that same year? I had immature moments on top of immature moments, literally. Justin corrected me doing this and that, but guess what happened? I beat GL. I became one of the MVPs at 8th grade, and that's what made 8th grade so impactful. Because I studied and I made it. I studied and I worked. I got something out of the hard work. I got something out. Nowadays, it doesn't matter how hard I train, doesn't matter how much I achieve, doesn't matter what I achieve. Literally, people are still gonna treat me like shit. 8th grade was such an impactful year because I got corrected, but I got to come back. You don't understand. There was this girl who I was asking if I could eat her burrito at lunch, and she's like, why don't you get your own money and shit like that? Literally, do you know how fucking immature that is? Me already knowing that literally I have to like pay, it cost money. I already had lunch. I bought pizza instead of a burrito. I asked the girl if I could eat her burrito, but guess what? I may have did something immature, but I still came back. It's not your burrito anyway. Elementary school contests, but I can still come back. I got heavily embarrassed, but I still heavily came back. Unlike the ARL, unlike anything in this fucking life. That's what made it impactful. That's what made it have meaning. Yeah, I put a whole bunch of immature stuff, but guess what happened? Anthony called me out on being immature, trying to make accents. No one got credit making accent and shit. Anthony Lily called me out. Lily, stop trying too hard to fit in, but he also gave me credit. You know he should have been with Jaylene by now. It was so up and down, it wasn't even funny. So guess what? At the end of the year, because I listened, because I was a good person, and because I fought all the way to the end, I got the proper reward. I got the proper end result. Now I do the same level of shit, and nobody gives me any fucking credit. You don't understand. Lily. And that comes from Lily. Those times where Lily, this girl called me out for trying to eat her burrito while I already ate her fucking pizza. Nobody puts themselves in those situations because they feel like it was totally gonna destroy their reputation. But they literally use bullshit examples like the ones I stated before in order to fall back on and shit like that. They do shit like that, but they have a mask for it. They have shit like that, but they have a certain style to cover it up. I'm like, dude, that doesn't do shit for the situation. But you don't understand how I feel about this world is literally so fucking trendy. Why are we going all the way back to 8th grade? Why are we doing this now? We should be above 8th grade by now. Why is everybody trying to imitate 8th grade? You tell me you never heard a Justin joke before? And then later on, I figured out that Justin jokes weren't actually made to be. I learned that he actually learned from specific people how to make those jokes and shit that literally, those jokes aren't regular. But I'm like, okay, well, there was still Uncle Jay. Oh, no, Uncle Jay used to bang too. I grew up to realize that everything I knew in 8th grade was a lie, but then it turned out for the better because I didn't even need those examples anymore. Who needs Justin jokes when you have people who like you for who you are? But then people try to literally get the people who I love involved, and then they literally try to slander, like, why are you going out with him? He's such a sleazebag, doing this and that. They really fucking torments shit. You don't understand. You know why? It's because they have what I have in 8th grade, but they don't have it at the same quality, and they don't have it at the same meaning, but they have it where it comes to keeping them content. The same way I came back with fucking GL, the same way I did this and that, what they do is they take that amount of dopamine and they convert it to other shit like cringe. That's exactly what the fuck they do. You don't understand. Like, literally, what they do is they have something to fall back on, something that eases the pain, just like me coming back. Even though I stay in the same position, I had concrete validation that not only I beat GL, I beat Justin, I beat everything, and that is way better. What these guys do is they take the same principle, but I'm beating him in Storm because I'm hacking the game. They get credit for not putting in the work automatically because they have to just guarantee them a win. I was back with a Naruto Uzumaki Believe It actually meant something. And now you're telling me to say Naruto Uzumaki Believe It just so you can get in the girl's pants. I worked hard, like Naruto Uzumaki, to beat Geo, and you guys literally slandered what the fuck that means today. Working hard to get a good result is dead nowadays. It doesn't matter. It all that matters through connections. It used to not be just connections. It used to be hard work will get you the spot. But literally, it doesn't matter. Now it's only biases on the top of biases with no fucking hope. And I'm willing to discard it. I'm willing to discard everything. I'm willing to literally discard what made 8th grade so fucking fantastic in order to show these new anime fans of the generation you're living life wrong, you're living life totally the exact opposite, you have no perspective, you get away with the dumbest shit, and you feel no remorse from it. You don't put yourself in a position that prevents you from doing it again, therefore you have no discipline. It really ticks me the heck off. You'll understand, literally. I was literally saying shit to the droid, literally confessing what literally secrets that I know about secret entertainment to people. You know what I'm doing by that? I'm sacrificing 8th grade because I'm sick and tired of this world not being able to top 8th grade because you guys don't actually want to have quality. You guys aren't willing to stand up to a Justin joke. Did you know that the very first time I was a freshman in high school, I was able to make a joke funnier than Justin ever done? When I said I took his shit, I woke up and then I ate a fat ass burrito. Do you know that literally I rose to the challenge and that I literally became the same level of skill that Justin was? And literally, you guys, when you guys see a challenge like that, you try to dumb him up. You try to literally close his perspective. You try to literally do anything to encourage him. And then you all fall back on Naruto Uzumaki Believe It. After trying to handicap somebody, you guys say literally strive for your goals and then you try to handicap somebody from meeting them. It really irritates me. That's why I'm willing to let go of everything that 8th grade stood for because you guys stand what the fuck Mr. Pudge's message was. Me versus Justin is always a story that you can tell your kids. Me versus, it doesn't matter if he turned out being full of shit. It doesn't matter. He gave me beautiful material to work with. But now you guys are saying that that material ain't shit. And because you guys aren't able to match it today, you say, who cares about how hard you did to try to combat Justin? The standards are different nowadays. It doesn't matter if they're lower, you still have to adapt to them. No, that's backtracking and evolution. You know this isn't healthy, but you're taking advantage of it every single day. I'm sacrificing shit on top of sacrificing how I felt. Every single confession I've made to Droid literally has been me sacrificing 8th grade, because what's the whole point if you guys don't appreciate it? I can go through all the power struggles I did in 8th grade, but if you guys don't appreciate it, what's the point? So I'm throwing it out there. I'm going to discard this because you guys don't understand what 8th grade meant to me. There was this time after Lily, I gained some social approval, after I gotten a couple of girls, after I did this and that, and Lily, I tried complaining to Mr. Pleasure Lily because I didn't want to do work because I was used to doing work all the time, and I started making the excuse, well, you know, a lot of people pick on me, and so, you know, Mr. Pleasure sat back and he smiled at me, and he's all like, he's like, Lily, it's this and that, because he knows I couldn't use that in the beginning of the year, but because I worked hard to fix my reputation, I couldn't. So you know what Mr. Pleasure said when I tried to make excuses, like, oh, please, when I saw you in PE, you were having fun dancing to the new music and stuff like that. You were having fun. Come on, Eris. When I see you socializing in PE, you're having a blast. Mr. Pleasure hit me where Kamehameha at the end of 8th grade. And he complimented me. He's like, just get the work done. And literally, that was worth more than 8th. That was one of the greatest memories of my life. But you guys will never understand the beauty of that message, and I'm willing to discard it. I was saving that for the end of 8th grade and how epic it was and how I put Allie. I was gonna put all that in one fucking video, more revelations for 8th grade, but no, since you don't give a shit, I'm not gonna give a shit either.